Hi, hello, very good evening, one and all. Welcome to India's largest e-learning platform, Gradeup. And welcome to very unique session on Gradeup. We are bringing an expert, a legend, who has secured All India rank 3 and who has pursued his masters from IISc Bangalore and who has completed his doctorate from MIT USA. So we will meet Dr. Vikas Garg, who is here to guide you regarding your GATE exam. Before the exam, how you need to do, what are the tips. He will be giving you tips, and while writing the GATE exam also, he will be guiding you in a better way, and after the GATE exam also about opportunities. So Mr. Vikas Garg, Dr. Vikas Garg sir is with us. So guys, before I welcome Vikas Garg sir, let me take all your presence. So Preetham, very good evening. Please join the session. Everybody, please join the session quickly. Everybody, please join the session quickly. Dr. Vikas Garg is with us, who is recently awarded PhD from MIT USA and who has got vast experience in research. His research has been recognized in 30 plus journals and who has worked in research and domain R&D of Amazon, IBM, Microsoft. So guys, it's really, we are very fortunate to have such a great expert with us. So guys, please utilize this opportunity by joining. So sir, Vikas Garg sir,
Thank you.
our students are most eagerly waiting for your tips, sir. Please hand over to you, sir. Thank you.
Sure. So can you hear me properly?
Yes.
So I'll just share my screen. Thank you. I'll share my screen. Just a second.
Sir, please go ahead. Thank you, sir.
So hi, everyone. So today I will be talking to you. 1 second. So I think like there might be some problem in, are you able to hear me properly? Hi, everyone. So today I will be talking to you. 1 second. I think like there might be some problem. Are you able to hear me properly? Okay, let's proceed. So the structure of the talk is laid out like this. I will be giving you certain tips about what to do before the exam, on the eve of the exam, then what to do on the day of the exam, and finally, what to do after the exam. What are the different opportunities? And I hope the things are useful for you. The information would be, the tips are, just a second. I think like there is I need to stop at this point for a second because there might be, I am hearing some echo here. So let's just like fix the logistics issue once. If I could get the attention. Please bear with us. So there seems to be some echo in the network. Hello. Let's try again. Maybe this has been sorted out by now. So let me just share my screen 1 second with you again. Um, yeah, but I'm still hearing some delay in the system echo. There is some echo. So the moment I speak, I hear my instantaneous voice, and I also hear like a 2-minute lag. So let's just fix this issue so that like the students can benefit from the from the slides. I will leave for a second and I'll join you back again. Okay, let's proceed anyway. I think like there is this might take some this issue might take some time, so I'll try my best so that you get it anyway. Okay, so here are the tips for starting before the exam. What to do before the exam? So you should take some time off work on the eve of your exam. It is very important. The reason I say that is the exams like GATE, they test your fundamental knowledge. They are interested in knowing what you already mastered. So you put in tons of effort in this. And so you should not really be worried about, like trying to slog at the last moment, memorize too many formulas. So that can be counterproductive. You have to give yourself the best chance to perform well in the exam. You have a single motto. You've been working for long, like this is a year-long study or 6 months or 8 months or whatever effort you put in. So try to trust whatever you've learned. It's easy because we are, sometimes it's easy to get stressed, and you would think like, oh, probably like others are really working hard even at the just one day before the exam. But it's crucial that you allow your mind to relax. Like there is lots of research done on how you should how taking proper relaxation just before the day of the exam can be really helpful. So I really advise you and recommend you that you should relax a bit before the exam. And hopefully you obviously, like it's not a magic that like you will appear in the exam and you will crack it. There is proper preparation that is required for it, and hopefully you mastered your fundamentals from the different topics and you are in good shape. So just sit back and relax now. If you are if you have reached this point, that means you've already done the hard work. You already put in the hard yards. I will suggest though that it's useful to have some kind of crib sheet or what is called the cheat sheet for quick reference. So what you could do is you have these 8 or 10 say modules on which you are being tested. So make sure that you consult your crib sheet, which is a collection of the formulas essentially. So some useful concepts. So you probably have, like, for example, in data structures, you probably have like the like some complexity related things. That what's the complexity of merge sort or quick sort. So generally they would not be asking you these questions, but they might have some questions based on, say, quick sort or merge sort, and where you could use these formulas. So it's useful just to go over them. I mean, obviously you can derive them as well if required, but this is a useful reference to have. So this is called a crib sheet, a collection of the notes. So for example, the probability formula, some calculus formula, so that you, it can be a very handy resource. Another thing I would suggest is just the day before exam or a couple of days before the exam. So to my understanding, there are two sessions, one in the morning session and one the afternoon session. So you could, depending on which session you have the exam in, I would strongly suggest you to appear, to take like a mock test or a practice test the day before or a couple of days before during the same time slot. So if your exam is say from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. On say Monday, then make sure that the Sunday, the previous day, you are taking a practice test from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. again. So this has to be a time-bound practice test. So you should go sit in a room with no distraction, no disturbances, and you shut up all the noise around you, and you try to just focus and concentrate. Pretend as if you are appearing in the exam on Sunday itself. This is because you have to train your mind to perform best during the exam time, and you teach your mind the best habits. You teach it, okay, tomorrow I have an exam, so let me like do a good job today as well. Just take the exam in absolutely, you have to essentially simulate the same conditions, the same exam conditions as far as possible, and you will see that the benefits of it when you sit during the exam. I would also say and like ask you to have some very light activities in the evening before the exam, just in the evening. So you could go, for example, play some sport, I don't know, badminton, or maybe, you go for a walk, a stroll, or you run, the running can also be good. You just release your any stress or any tension or anything. Listen to some soft music, whatever it may be. It's important that you give your mind some time after you've taken the practice exam and everything to just relax. I cannot, you might be thinking that I'm emphasizing this, but it's really very, very important. You have to take some break from work so that you can again come back the next day and perform at your optimal levels. I would also ask you to sleep well. Sometimes it can be hard because obviously it's easier said than done, that you can be stressed and you might feel, oh, maybe let me read something else or do something, but you should really sleep. You should really try to sleep well. And one tip that I could give you in this regard is to go to the bed at your usual routine. Whatever timings you usually go to the bed, go around then. So don't try to go too early, because then you'll be thinking about the exam, and don't delay either, because then you probably would be sleep deprived, or and then it would be harder for you to concentrate during the exam. So make sure that you really sleep well. And at all this time, while you are taking the exam, it's easier to have some kind of, there is something called like the imposter syndrome, or, like everyone thinks that, oh, I cannot, it's like everyone is competing and like it will be hard, and, how I'm going to get like a good rank and enter into your dream institute. Just forget all that. If you perform at your best levels, if you perform at your optimum levels, then certainly you will get a good rank. Because at the end of the day, suppose like if you get like the toppers probably get like 70% marks, so there is, even though it's a relative exam in the sense that everyone is competing, but that, okay, if you go like close to 55-60%, then you are already in the you already secure a top rank. So think from that perspective. You just have to give your best. Stop worrying about what the others are doing at that point of time. In life, in order to succeed, not just like for this exam, but other exams also, you have to back yourself. You have to trust in your abilities. You have to be absolutely confident in what you can do. So just give it your best shot. It's not the time to worry that, like if you already before the exam, if you think like it's going to be hard and like I cannot make it, then certainly you won't make it. You take it from me. So that's why I urge you, Trust your instincts. At that point of time, it's better to suffer from overconfidence on the eve of exam than lack of confidence. It's okay, if you are overconfident, you'll probably make some mistakes, but you already worked hard. You already have, as I said, put in the hard work. So just trust yourself, back yourself. The people who succeeded have not like just descended like from somewhere, right? They've also gone through the same process. So if you put in your best, I assure you that you'll get a good rank. Okay, now we come to the all important day of exam. Can I give you some tips regarding that? Sure. So as I said, first of all, stay away from notes and books. Like the day of exam, in some ways I think of as a cricket match, a batsman who is about to step on the cricket field. He's sitting in the pavilion, the next batsman, it's his turn to bat, and so he steps on the field. So don't do any net practice on the day of exam. You already worked. Okay, let it be. Let the exam come to you. Let the exam paper be presented to you, uh, and you just do it when the need arises, not before. Take some deep breaths before the exam, like some 8, 10, 15 deep breaths before the exam, because that helps you like some control, like some of the nervousness, some of the tension that you might have in the body just because of the exam pressure. There is like this exam fever. Just don't, all the techniques that I'm telling you, it's to calm you down. And that's the most important part at that point of this point of time. And also stay hydrated. Drink lots and lots of water, because if you don't drink water, 3 hours is a long enough time. You might get some headache, and if you are getting stuck somewhere, so stay hydrated. That I would also suggest as something useful. Now, at the time of exam, when you started writing the exam, you need to learn to manage your time really well. So I call something an ego trap. What do I mean by an ego trap? So there are some concepts which you would have felt very comfortable with. So all of us have, GATE covers tons of syllabus, pretty much all of computer science, and some math and all that. So the content is huge. So all of us would probably have some concepts where we feel very comfortable with. So you might be very good, for example, in data structures. You may not feel so comfortable while doing computer networks. So it's natural. Like, for example, if you see a question from data structures which you are comfortable with the topic, that you might have this feeling, oh, I'm an expert in like data structures or this, so I should be able to nail down any question from that area. Don't have that. That's a very, I call it an ego trap, because in your mind you believe that you cannot go wrong. So try to avoid these ego traps. Think of, like, for example, like Sachin. I'm a big cricket fan, so that's why I'll give you some analogies from cricket. So in the Sydney test in 2004 or 3, he scored 241 runs, and he did not hit a single cover drive in the entire innings. For a batsman who was known for his cover drives and straight drives, to not hit a single cover drive, that's the kind of discipline you need. You cannot have ego traps anywhere. You cannot spend too much time on any single question. At the end of the day, you need to score good overall on all the questions, not on like some any particular questions. So please keep that in mind. Secondly, sometimes what happens is, because you have these multiple choice questions, so you may not be able to like know the answer. You may not be able to complete working out the solution of the problem. So it's helpful to retain your partial work. So for example, if you have a scratch paper, then write on that scratch paper whatever you worked out. So at least note down like which options are certainly not true, or which are the options. Say if there are two options that you are not sure of, so you can just eliminate and say that these are the only two options that I need to consult. So you can come back afterwards, if whenever you have time, whenever you attempted other questions, to these questions. don't repeat the work, because in the heat of the exam, it's very easy to, like work a bit on the question, and then, you move to next question. And then when you come back, you forget that like what you'd worked out, what are the right options. So it's important to keep that in mind. Also, it's more common than you think. Avoid silly mistakes. Like, so when you work out, you have the solution on, you worked out the solution, but make sure that you enter in your computer test, you enter the right option there. Sometimes it's easy to like enter like a wrong option just because of time pressure, or, um, some sort of carelessness. Just avoid any silly mistakes. You just cannot afford those kind of mistakes. If you have worked out a solution, you should get the mark for it. You should get the grade for that. The third point, and it's a very important point that I would like to bring to your attention. Don't be stressed if the exam seems really tough. You know, there are different factors why it might seem tough. First of all, that you did not like prepare that well. In that case, well, there is no one to blame but yourself. So you should have prepared better. But assuming that all of you have put in the effort, even if you are really, even if you're really well prepared, you could have moments where it feels like, that you're not just getting, you take a look at the paper, and, and at the questions, and oh, I cannot attempt this. I cannot attempt this. So that initial, it could be just initial nervousness. It happens to all of us, like it's again, like as I said, like taking example from cricket, a batsman comes to crease, his feet does not move, hand-eye coordination is not there. Like every batsman, or pretty much all the batsmen that come for the first time, they feel jittery. Like they're like, oh, what to do? Like missing here, missing there, and ball hitting the pad, body, and so on. So it's okay. 3 hours is a long enough time. Like if you know your stuff, it's okay. Even if you like first 5 minutes, you are not getting any answers. Okay. If you know the stuff, 3 hours is a really long time. You will be able to attempt all the questions. So don't be harsh on yourself. Be a bit kind on yourself. Uh, give your mind the opportunity to relax down a bit and solve the questions. That does not mean that for half an hour you just allow the mind to relax, but you know what I'm saying. The other reason why you should not be stressed about exam seeming tough is because it could indeed be tough. And if it is tough for everyone, then it could be a blessing in disguise. Why? Because if the exam is easier, then lots and lots of students would do very well on the exam. And then especially if you are targeting the really top institutes, just like missing just one or two questions or three questions could like make a difference of I don't know, hundreds of ranks. So it's important that like if it's a hard exam, and if you do reasonably well on the exam, you have a higher chance of getting a good rank. Like again, like as I said, like it's like on bouncier wickets you get the chance to win. Probably if you bat reasonably well enough. So so keep these things in mind. They would be really very very useful for you. Final point about how to proceed on the day of exam: make informed guesses. So if you have some questions where there is negative marking, just don't do any blind guessing. Like it's a natural human temptation that like saying, oh, suppose I don't know 10 questions, maybe like uh, I will blindly or randomly guess like 10 things, and even if like 2 or 3 work out, maybe 3 or 4 work out. So that's more hope than reality. It might work out because there is still some probability, but generally I would not suggest that you do that, especially when there is negative marking. Having said that, you should take calculated risks for such questions. What do I mean by that? If you can eliminate some options that you know for sure are not true, then you are essentially your probability of success increases of getting the answer right. And so this is really very important. So if you are able to eliminate, say, a couple of options that you know for sure these cannot be true, then it obviously improves your odds. So in that case, you can take a shot. But don't, if you do not know anything about the question, you've got no idea, just don't like um, uh, blindly take a guess and fill in the answer. Another thing which I think is way more common than we normally think is sometimes you will feel, because you've done tons and tons of practice, you've seen tons and tons of questions. So at the time of exam, it would seem to you that perhaps some questions uh, are repeats of what you've seen previously, or very, very similar. There is a temptation. You're from memory. It would seem like, oh, I've seen this question and let me do this. Don't do that. Take a moment, take a minute to actually make sure that you understand what the question is saying, because there could be so many questions which are very similar, but have just some minute difference which could completely change the answer. So make sure that you just don't repeat anything from memory. Of course, if this is just a factual question, like which is hard to get generally, in case of a factual question where it's either known or not known, you can um, use your memory. But typically, GATE does not test you on those kind of questions. So make sure you are aware of all of these things. These small things make a huge difference to the ultimate score. Okay, now let's assume that the exam is done. Whatever you think of the exam, sometimes you've done well, but you underestimate yourself, thinking that, oh, I really did not do well. Sometimes the other way around, but the exam is done. And the important thing is that you tried your best. That's the most important thing in life. I always say this to, like whosoever, I advise, saying that it's important that you feel that you tried the best. It's okay. It's not always as in life. It's not that things will always work out. This is life. Sometimes things not no and it's not even a function of like how hard you prepared. There could be, you could just have a bad day, you could have fever, you could have any extraneous factors because of which you could not you might have some exam anxiety, because of which you could not perform to your optimal level. So so make sure that like uh, that you are content with your efforts. Efforts is what is under your control, not the performance on the day of exam. Typically they are very highly correlated, and that's why we put in efforts, but sometimes it may not be so. So make sure that uh, as I said, put in your best effort, so you don't have the regret that I could not do the best from my side. And things will happen. Good things will happen if you put in effort. Anyway, there is this saying in Hindi also, like chidiya chug gayi khet, like wa pachtaye hot kya, like why cry over spilt milk, why regret over something that's already done. Because you can do work on something else, you can work on improving the situation rather than crying on something that is already beyond your control. So have a positive mentality. It's very, very important to have a positive mentality, whatever you are doing. uh, 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 so I'll get to the comments at the end of this. I think like it would be useful to do this session, because I don't want any logistical problems here. So today is the first time I'm hosting like a YouTube session. So let's wait for a bit. I'll take several of your questions. Another thing that I would ask you: learn from your mistakes. Every exam tells you something. It's not just that, oh, whether you got into your dream institute or not. It's important to analyze what you did good in the exam, where you were not at the best, what could have you changed. What were the things that you could have done a bit differently that would have possibly improved your performance? Always analyze that. It's important, because you have to. I feel that it's important that once you put in so much effort, that you reflect back on it. What could I have done better? Can I improve somewhere? Did I miss something? Was it time anxiety? Did I not practice hard? Was some concept weak? Or did I know things but I still could not perform well? So just analyze that, but after taking sufficient rest, not just like after just coming out of the finishing the exam, and then give yourself some time to relax and think with when you're relaxed, because that's when you'll be able to have a clearer view of things. Also, there would be some small hiccups. For example, there could be, I hope that you don't have to face it in the gate exam, but there could be. Even if it is, by analyzing and learning from your mistakes, you can make these as stepping stones to success. Like great successes are built on, even if things don't go well, if you analyze and if you learn from your mistakes, then you can do great. So learn from your mistakes, but don't be harsh on yourself. I'll again say, because you have to. Life is long. Like you'll get lots of opportunities, and we'll come to some of the opportunities that you would have. So give it your best shot. Hopefully you get in, but even if not, no big deal. And once the result is out, I hope that you all get into institutes of your choice, and trust me, you would have deserved it. It's not like a hit or miss game, because so many questions or such a high score you cannot really get by just like randomly guessing. As I said, effort has been there. So if the things work out well, which I hope it does for all of you, then congrats. Pat yourself, pat your back. It's a well deserved accomplishment. But it's okay even if it's not favorable. Like again, coming back to cricket, even Bradman got out for a duck in his last innings. So even Einstein was thrown out of the school or failed in like some of the easier courses, so-called easier courses. So it's all of us, or at least, like, I mean, I've been to like premier places like ISC, MIT, and all of these. I don't know of a single person who did not fail at some point of time. And there are like geniuses, there are absolute geniuses. Like, so there is no shame in that. Like, don't be harsh on yourself. Hopefully you will all get in. Like, if you work hard, it will be great. It's also important to it's also important to reevaluate after the exam. Like, and once the result is out, what is that you really crave for in life? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? Why are you doing this? Like, what do you want in life? Did you appear for gate just because everyone else around you was appearing for the gate? Is that the only reason? Then it's not a good reason, because then you are not feeling, it's not your priority. In some ways, it's just because it's like following the herd mentality. So that's a wrong reason for uh, doing something, gate or anything else. But suppose that you are really want to do this, you really want to get into a good institute for higher studies. Then are you ready to prepare harder for the next time? Okay, this time is gone, but how do we proceed? What do we next time? Are you willing to put in the hard yards again, possibly put in even more effort? you know Ask yourself this question, that am I prepared to do that or no? Or am I done? Am I like completely exhausted from this experience, and I have no energy left further? In some ways, this is like saying that, like, whether you want to go back to, as a cricketer, want to go back to Ranji or domestics, and then, like, and hone your skills. It's already good, because you've already gone through the experience. You're familiar with the topics and the questions. So the next time it would be easier for you, because you are not starting from, like, ground zero. You already have some base, and so it's easier to build on that. But ask yourself, like, whether you really want to do it. So that's one thing. There are other things, other possibilities. For example, you could have, that you could, you may want to go out, you may want to go abroad. So I know of like several students who try to, for example, give the get into IICs, IITs or NITs or some other institutes, and from there they get some, like good recommendations uh, and go abroad. So if that's the goal, then there could be alternative ways that you could follow. You could take the GRE, right away. So um, so these are the kind of questions. This is the kind of thinking. This is the kind of analysis that you have to do to yourself. And you have to be honest with yourself. And this is the one thing that I will ask of you. Always in life, be honest with what you want. There would be people, there would be peer pressure. If things work out well, you will have a lot more friends around you. It's a fact of life. If things don't work out, there would be people who would possibly be, like saying that, oh, this guy is no good, this person is there. Yeah, I always knew that he cannot do anything in life. So just cut all that crap. This is not you have to be absolutely honest with yourself. What do you want in life? And if you want in life, if you are really passionate about something, only then you are going to get it, because then you will be putting in the efforts that are required to achieve that goal. So keep all these things in mind, and you will have a clarity of thought. You need, at the end of the day, to pursue and to put your efforts in the direction that you really want. What are your goals in life? What are your objectives in life? And that would help you do things. Okay, now another question. So now, okay, suppose the goal is to go abroad or to study, say, for example, in Indian institutes, the top IITs, ISC, NITs, and the likes. So now the question is, what are the different kind of possibilities that you have there, and what can you also, what to study? That's another question, because GATE is just to think of GATE as one major, like major stop in your journey. It's just succeeding in GATE is not like going to make you, like a success story overnight. Because even if when you go, so suppose you get into ISC, IITs, NITs, or whatever your dream institute maybe, you have to work hard there also, because the level of education that you would see compared to your BTech B institutes would be vastly different. You will see like the experiences that you will have meeting with professors there. You will see that how they teach, and like the skill set that you need to develop, the background that you need to do to excel at these places and all. Everyone does that. I mean, over a period of time, you of course you can develop that. It's not to dissuade you, but think of GATE as just one part of your journey. And then it makes easier for you to think rationally about what are the different possibilities that you have. So first choice is you do well in GATE, get into one of your dream institutes. Now you do some nice projects, possibly one or two internships, and then you take the recommendations, write the exam, and apply for masters, PhD in abroad. So you could follow that route. There are lots of opportunities for higher studies in institute in US, Europe, even countries like Canada, Singapore, Australia. They are investing lots of the federal government there. They are investing lots of money into higher education. So you really get lots of good education there, good education opportunities there. So that's one route. The other route is that it's pretty much same as route one, but you don't really write the GRE exam immediately after your MTech. So what you do is you work in industry for some time, and so that it serves two purposes. First of all, you get some work experience, which might be very helpful when you apply for further studies abroad, because you would have probably done some nice projects, could have shown some impact, align, show that the subject that you're interested in pursuing is aligned with some of the work that you've done as part of your job. So it can be very, very helpful. That's also one of the options. The other one of the other possibilities is that you skip masters altogether in India and proceed to GRE directly. So this is slightly less trodden path, but this is a viable option if you have done some good projects or internships during your bachelor's. So even when you are like as part of bachelor's, you could do, for example, depending on whether, like, obviously if you are in final year, probably this internship option is ruled out. But if you are, for example, in third year or so there are some, places like ISC, they have these summer internships that you could apply for. So they have these summer internship programs. So ISC has one. I know that some IITs also possibly have that. So you can do that. You go talk to, work with a professor for a short period of time, and it all works out well. So that's another option that you could do. Or obviously, like, one other option is that after, if you want to stay in India, then there are tons of opportunities. If you cleared GATE, the brand recognition that comes with studying at some of these institutes, ISCs, IITs, and ITs, is immense. So you would have lots of opportunities in terms of the kind of jobs that you can do. There would be lots of companies which would be visiting the campus. So it's a great thing to have. So you could stay back. There would be lots of PSUs would be there, like ISRO, BARC, like these kind of organizations also hire. And if you go to places like ISC, for example, so when these companies, some of these government organizations, when they come to hire you, they choose you they take you at a level which is higher than the normal level. So they'll choose you, for example, for, I think, like scientist level C instead of scientist level A. So there are tons and tons of opportunities there. The opportunities are limitless, pretty much, if you do well in GATE, for example. Now, the other important question: what to study? Say, for example, even if you are at ISC, IIT, NITs, or if you go abroad, what are the good areas these days? So I work in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it is one of the hottest, if not the hottest area currently across engineering fields. And this is no exaggeration. I guess, like, you all have heard of AI and machine learning and NLP and all that. So there is an exceptionally high demand for good, well-trained talent, both in India and outside. If you are working in these areas, AI and ML, and you built your skill set really well, then pretty much, regardless of which stream of engineering you come from, you'll have tons of scope and opportunities. So this is something, and the reason being that even if you are, like, say, from the biotech or bioengineering, then you can work on drug discovery, you can work on precision medicine. If you are from civil, you can work on some architectural landscapes through AI. If you are from chemical, there is lots of opportunities there. If you are from CSE, ME, you can do. If you are from mechanical, you can do robotics. You can do. There is just like whole plethora of opportunities that opens up for you once you, for example, work in the broad. AI is a very broad paradigm. Essentially, it's a collection of lots of fields, subfields. So you give yourself lots of opportunities there. So yeah. So in summary, what I want to tell you is that, just give your best shot, and then there are ways. If it goes well, perfect. That's all we want for you to succeed. And there will be tons of opportunities for you regardless. So just keep an open mind, be confident in yourself, give your best, and things will be great. All the best to everyone here. I really wish you well. I'll just ask you one thing to remember in life, never give up. There would be times when, like, everything will seem to not go well, or, people like friends not like behaving the way you want them to be or whatever, or relatives or neighbors or anything. Just back yourself, be honest to yourself, analyze what your strengths are and focus on your strengths. Over a period of time, try to iron out your weaknesses, and consolidate your strengths. That's the way you are going to improve upon yourself, and that should be the ultimate quest. Once you have this kind of mentality where you try to learn from your successes and failures alike in some ways, I think then you would succeed. It's not a question, um, you will all succeed. So trust me on that, and give your best shot, and we'll see, and I look forward to hearing good things from all of you. So, and if you like to stay in touch, here is, I'm showing my email address here, vgarg@ccl.mit.edu, and all the best. So I'll probably take some questions, but maybe I should hand over to Satya for this. Just a second.
Yes, sir. You can take our students' questions if you would like to.
Oops. Let's see. So I'll just hang on for a second. So I'm just trying to coordinate this YouTube thing. It's new to me, so bear with me, please.
So, sir, meanwhile, one of our student is
So
asking.
I should be able to do it from here.
Sir.
Stop the sharing. And I'll make Satya the host. Satya, sir.
Yep, sir. Vikas, sir, could you see our students'
So he's the host now. I'll let him take forward from here, and we can take some questions also.
Yep. So, Vikas, sir, thank you so much for your valuable words. It's really great that our students are very, very fortunate that to hear all your valuable tips and the motivation that you have given. Our students, actually, some of our students were asking some queries to you. So would you be able to see their comments, sir?
Just a second. Let me see that.
Like Pratim Patra is asking MTech in India, Indian IITs or abroad universities, which is better?
Just a second. Let me see the comment, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as in life there is, so as in life there is, like no right or wrong answer. Like not everything is 0 or 1. Depends on what are your priorities, what you really have. It depends on tons of factors. For example, we have to see what are the pros and cons, or because everyone's life situation is different. You have your different financial conditions, you have different priorities. Some have family concerns. If you are the only kid, for example, of a family, you probably want to stay back, like closer to parents. So different life situations. But but we should see like what are the pros and cons. That's a great question. And so the kind of things that we could possibly think of are the following. If you go abroad, you are studying in a very cosmopolitan society. So if you will go outside, you will see people from different nationalities with different cultural backgrounds, and it's you will see that you will grow in that sense, that because you will interact with those people, you will see how they work, you will see their approach of tackling things, of going about their work. You will see about their work ethic. You will see like how they proceed, and this. Yes. So there are lots of learnings that you can do, and also like like the job opportunities are there in terms of what you want to do. So you could, there are all kinds of things. So that's one setup, but it comes with challenges. If you go outside, you're not in your, cocoon or the comforts of your home. So you probably, need to take care of yourself, because no one is coming to help you there. Here you have
Exactly.
friends, family, so many things. You are used to the system. And here, like, sometimes, like, we get some things, why we call it jugad or whatever you want to say, right? Like, we
Yes,
get
yes,
some
yes.
things, you are familiar with the system, you know what are the loopholes in the system, and you can exploit that. You can get things faster or this and
Yes.
that. Outside, it's a lot more streamlined in terms of there are procedures in place, there are systems in place, and like, and you have to follow them for good or bad.
Mhm.
That's a different question. Opportunities are a lot. So if you are staying these days, especially like for AI and machine learning, as I'm saying, like in these areas, these are the hottest areas. All the big companies, and like,
Hmm.
for data scientists, like for like
ML.
engineers,
Yes.
machine learning engineers, computer vision, NLP, and all. So you have lots of opportunities both in India and abroad at this point of time. Like companies like Flipkart here you have, and yeah, so there are tons of opportunities, just like what you prefer. Outside, you go, of course, like the scale, because uh, the salaries, and it's sometimes we have this tendency to, like, to
Yep. Yep.
compare the salaries here versus
Yes.
salaries there. So the
Right.
expenditures are also there, like, so you have to, like, uh,
Exactly.
keep all these things into
Balanced.
consideration, like
Hmm.
what you want. But it's a good thing, I think. Like, personally, from my perspective, it was good to have experience, to go on outside, experienced, and work with the best, in some ways, be it industry or be it academia. And I experienced both the worlds.
Yep.
So it's a great option. Sometimes, one of the things is that there would be some inertia,
Yeah.
whether I should go, whether I should. But I'm saying, like, you can try both options. Anyway, you're preparing for GATE, so just take the GRE exam. Like, your aptitude, I don't think, like, you really need to work on that. Build your comprehension, like, like, and there are techniques to do that.
Hmm.
And then you write the exam also, and see, like, how you perform. And it's not that you have to wait for 2 years or 3 years, or like do another engineering to do that. So give
Yes,
yourself
sir.
the best opportunities in both, and
Yes.
then take your call. Because first get good results, and then you can decide. Put yourself in a condition, in a situation where you actually can choose between the
Yes.
different options. So
So our
that's
student
what I would suggest.
Preetham has got this, sir, and he's already telling you thanks a lot, sir, for your invaluable advice.
I'm
And
glad
sir,
it's helping.
some of our students are also asking what could be the opportunities for embedded systems and nanotechnology. Many of our students are asking this. So from your expertise, please share your thoughts, sir.
Sure. So I have to take these off, because the moment I put them on, like, there is like double, like the text, as I was saying. So yeah, so that's a great question. So, like, AI is one of the things. There are other things, like, for example, you said, like, nanotechnology, like, then embedded systems. Then you also have, like, blockchains, and like all this. So in the cryptocurrency and all that. So there are tons of opportunities there. Uh, I am personally a fan of AI. Call it my bias because I am doing this, but because I think, like, AI forms an integral part in all of these in some ways. When you
Yes.
go at the nanotechnology level, you are using some kind of quantum methods, and like, so there is lots of scope there, like, from a quantum learning perspective. And then it also is like one of the evolving, still pretty nascent. So it's not like really fully developed, but there's tons of scope there in terms of, like, the quantum. So for example, IBM has a full-fledged quantum
Even with
division of
IoT
quantum
also.
algorithms. So there is lots of opportunity there. Embedded systems also, like, there is always this thing, like, okay, how do you optimize for this chip, like, you have the processing board. So how do you organize this? So lots of design layouts are, like, for example, being done. I'm biased, as I said, through AI, because I see, like, it opens up. You can do pretty much anything with these days, just because of the scope. But even independently, I think all these fields, as I said, embedded systems, nanotechnology, then the cryptocurrency, the privacy issues are also, like,
Yep.
another important issue, because the
Yep.
companies are trying to. This is a big issue, especially, like, for example, in Europe. you have to, with the leakage of data that you have, like from these social networks and other things, that's another thing. So you have, in all of these, you have tons of opportunities, but it's always useful, I would say, to do your homework. Go read about this, what is there in the nanotechnology, what are the latest developments in this space, what are the different, like what's the state of the art in embedded systems. So do your homework. If you prepare well, then you will get an idea, because sometimes, um, uh, before I started working for machine learning, I thought it's like some, machine hanging there and learning and this, like it's good to like do some homework. It's good to know about what you are getting into. And then you would sometimes, oh, this is not what I wanted to. I thought of it as something else, but perhaps like these days, this is not the best thing. So, but all of these I know that are really very, very, very useful directions, and there are tons of opportunities in this space. And I absolutely agree. There are lots of avenues in this space.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And a couple of our students were asking, Mr. Ninimesh Kumar is asking, how good I need to be in programming to get into ML?
Okay. That's a great question.
Yes.
So these days there are two, I think like there is some kind of demarcation, or, some kind of split between ML as we understand, as we use the word. So predominantly, one is the classical ML. For example, you have the supervised learning, you have the unsupervised learning, then you have the, like the reinforcement learning, some of those methods that have the classical methods. And the other one is the current state of the art models. For example, you have the generative models and some of the things that are not like really, we probably, we do not teach them in India, at least in the schools. So a major part of the thing is whether you are using deep learning or not. So sometimes you use, for example, random forests or some other classifiers, but you don't use deep learning. If you are not using deep learning, then Python, for example, has lots of libraries, like, for example, scikit-learn and all, which really provides you an API. So you can just, issue your commands, you can call. So they've already implemented it for you. You just need to pass into the parameters, and it's easy for you to, it's very easy for you to do that. But if you are getting into deep learning, then obviously there are lots of libraries that have built on top of Python. Python is the most common framework, even though there are like some C++ libraries also for speed and efficiency. But in Python, you have the PyTorch, you have TensorFlow, then there is also this Keras, which is built on top of, which is like a wrapper on TensorFlow to make things easier. But each of these are very learnable. So I think like Python, if you can build it, it's not something that is out of the world. So if you have some programming experience, you can easily get into, you can easily take a step further and do coding in ML. And even if you've not been exposed to programming, you can still like learn it. Python is one of the easiest languages to work with, because it's very user friendly. And some of the ML libraries actually use some kind of C++ or like more efficient thing at the bottom. So it's you can work in the high level, and then you have the also you have the support of these CUDA or GPUs or these machines which are which really speed up. So that should not be a concern. What I would say is that like you can pick it up as and when required.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you so much, sir. And sir, let us conclude with one consolidated, all students' doubts together. I am just trying to put in a consolidated way. Let's say there is a student who has no bar, he can get into GATE, I mean, into MTech in IIT or abroad, and he can choose an IT field also. Let's say I'm from computer science, you are also from computer science. So let us talk about a computer science student who has gene for everything. Yes, definitely our students and I understand. If you want
Sorry,
to get
one second. I'm hearing now the echo because I have to put this on. So I don't know. Just let me second. Let me just take this ear.
Yes, sir.
And if you can say now.
For everything. Yes, sir. So from a computer science student point of view,
One second. I'm hearing now the echo because I have to put
I
this
also
on.
can hear the echo now.
There is some issue in the system
Yes.
right now. And if you can say now.
Sir, like in the Zoom, you can put it on mute.
One second. Let me see.
The Zoom.
Now I cannot hear you.
Yep, sir.
I cannot hear you now.
No. If you put yourself.
1 second. Let me try with the earbuds if I can hear you. Can you try speaking?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Now I hear both your echo and this. But yeah, wait, can you type this and maybe I will say what the question is and or just go ahead. Just say it. I'll try to figure out.
No, sir. The thing is, if you are in a situation that where you have zeal for both IT as well as MTech in IITs like GATE.
Yes.
You have passion towards both, equal passion, let's say, and your surroundings, your financial things support both. Then what would you have chosen, GATE or IT?
So, take a coin. Do the experiment, and toss it.
Okay.
As they say. By the time it will come down, you would know what you want. It's if you, I think like you always have at least, even if it is a very slight bias, you always have some preference for the one or the other. That's one thing. I always feel that this is like a very idealized situation that we are trying to say that like, you are equally this, but on the other hand, as I said, like it's often not just, not just like performing, not just a question of performing well in the exam. For example, I had the best opportunities both in India and abroad. It also depends on what do you want from an overall perspective. There are pros and cons, okay? Away from the family, but you make new friends, a new kind of things. What are your long-term plans? What do you want to do afterwards? Like, okay, are you, what kind of jobs are you looking for? Are you having like, for example, some, startup plans? Are you thinking of like, for example, working in, what kind of industry are you working in? Because for some, the kind of work that you get would also differ. Like for some companies, at least the software engineers, the kind of work that they get in India is different from what they get abroad. So it's a matter of essentially like figuring out all the things. You have to, a good exercise to do is to take a sheet of paper, form two columns. On one column, okay, first of all you write what do you want, what are your priorities, and gives a score to the priorities. Which one is the most important? How much you weight, and then use a column and you say, okay, start from the top of your list and point out and say, put a tick mark or a cross whether going abroad fulfills the criteria or staying back in India is better with respect to this point. And you go down your list. So you scroll one by one through that, and then you add up the scores, and you'd trust me, you won't even have to go all the way down, because at some point you would already know where where you are headed,
Yes.
And so you will be able to figure out, and there's nothing to lose for you, like you can write the GRE exam or the other exams, and some of the things that you do can be used there also, like some of the because it develops your mentality in terms of like the application material that you prepare. So aptitude GRE I think of it like as an easier exam, like in terms of the investment that you need to put, because you are tested on say comprehension, you're tested on vocabulary, on your reading abilities, and the math is very, very basic. So it's not a significant investment on your time. So you can give yourself both the opportunities, apply. You will never know, how good or bad you are getting like the responses unless you try. It's like,
yes,
you could be the best brain in the world. If you don't write the gate, nothing will happen. No, the opportunity will not come and knock on your door. Likewise, if you don't apply, you could have a stellar profile, but you may not make it to the good universities. So just these things will become clearer, and you can do both. It's and then depending on, once you have got some feedback, some results, the performance here and there, and then you take a call. That's don't exclude one possibility for the other. I feel that it's important to have like these different be aware of the different opportunities, and try your best in them.
Right. So great to hear from you, sir. It's really a privilege to talk to you. So guys, I believe Dr. Vikas Garg sir's words are very, very useful for you. And thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and valuable words for our students. Definitely, your motivation works for our students and they do well. Let's hope the best. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So good night, everyone.
And I wish all the students who've been listening to this the best of luck. Just give your best, and you will succeed. Don't worry about the things. Do your job well, and great things will happen to you.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Bye-bye.
All the very best, guys. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.